The silver price and gold price and platinum price are crazy undervalued right now. But what does it mean for us when we get front page coverage on the Wall Street Journal for gold? Is that starting to tell us something? We're going to dive into that. Also, what's going on with China and gold? We know what's going on with the BRICS here within the next couple of weeks, but what specifically is going on with China right now and gold that will give us an indicator as to where the price of the metals could be heading in the near future? Also, I have a fascinating piece of analysis that was sent in by one of you viewers, which to me explains why there's almost no chance that we could see silver dropping below the $20 per ounce range. You can decide for yourself, as always, right? You do your own due diligence, but I'm telling you, I've got some information for you provided by a gentleman named Stu that is going to blow your minds when it comes to the silver situation in the country. Also, I have a warning for you from Coin Shop Chris himself, something that I do believe we need to pay attention to as precious metal purchasers in the market. We'll cover that as well. Let's get started with Kitco this morning. Had a headline talking about the recent moves in the silver price and gold price. I'll read this to you. Gold and silver prices are slightly lower in early U.S. trading Wednesday. The precious metals bulls are timid at midweek after another economic report out of China that suggests less consumer demand for goods and services, which includes metals. Guys, I got a little news for you. They're talking about the D word in China. Not depression, but deflation. We'll touch on that a little bit more in a second. Big news tomorrow in the United States that will have a major impact on the metals prices. Tomorrow, Thursday morning, we're going to get the CPI numbers. Some people call them the CPI. We'll call it the CPI. But that could have a massive impact on the metals prices tomorrow. We could see another $1 move in silver. We could see a $30 or $40 move in gold. I'm 50-50. I really don't have a strong feeling as to what's going to happen with that tomorrow, but I think there's as good of a chance that we have a big up day tomorrow as opposed to a down day. And we know that over the last couple of weeks, the metals have been struggling. So when the CPI number comes out, look, again, we'll treat it with a certain level of suspicion. Do we really believe the numbers that we get from the government when it comes to inflation, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to the economy, to the GDP, right? We try to look at the real numbers, the real info from the street. And we do know that inflation is going up, 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 but it's all a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Whether the CPI number tomorrow comes in hot or cold, right? What the Fed does, look, this Doug Casey guy, again, I want to repeat this, said it so eloquently. He's like, whatever the Fed's doing now with interest rates and everything else, what he said was it feels like they're rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. Like the system is under a great deal of stress, I guess we could say. So whatever they do, whatever the numbers are tomorrow, but be prepared because we're probably going to get a big, big move in the metals tomorrow. What about the Wall Street Journal? Is there any other financial publication that commands such respect within the financial community? What if the Wall Street Journal had a front page article in their finance and investing section about gold? And I want to read you a couple takeaways from this article because it's very interesting. And this came from our good friend Mark S. He's the one that alerted me of this, so thank you, Mark. Let me read this. Here, headline. Here's the headline. Hold on. Wrong one. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Headline. Individual investors, that's me and you, seek safety in gold. This is in the Wall Street Journal. What does this tell us about exposure, about the mainstream media starting to talk about gold And of course, when we talk about gold, we're talking about silver and platinum as well. Let me read this. It's very interesting what they wrote. Just a couple paragraphs. It says, John Susano lost thousands of dollars from his retirement account betting on biotech shares in early 2021. Now, the 44-year-old integration engineer from Gloucester, Massachusetts, is putting his money into an investment whose value is held up over a longer run. Gold coins. This is the Wall Street Journal said that in the first paragraph. Precious metals are kind of what just makes it so I can sleep at night, he said, where I can hold it and nobody can hurt me. It's impossible that I'm going to end up in a bread line somewhere waiting for someone to drop something into my hand so I can eat. Susano is not alone, the Wall Street Journal says. More than a year after inflation, interest rate increases, bank failures, and market craziness have lured many other individual investors to precious metals such as gold and silver. Sorry, Neil, they didn't talk about platinum in this Wall Street Journal article, but they will soon. I'm hearing more and more good things about platinum. We'll touch on that later. Gold prices have gained about 6% this year to around $1,934 an ounce. That includes a March surge fueled by the banking crisis. Yes, thank you very much. Again, guys, Wall Street Journal. This is where it gets interesting that the Wall Street Journal is talking about this. The percentage of Americans who believe gold is the best long-term investment jumped to about 26% this year from 15% last year. The number of Americans who think it's the best long-term investment nearly doubled. There's more people getting on our silver, gold, and platinum boat, guys, okay? That was according to a Gallup report from May. Those preferring stocks dropped to 18% from 24% last year, while those favoring bonds climbed a little bit. So the Wall Street Journal, right, the biggest financial publication possibly in the world, has an article about gold, and they talk about silver, that is bullish. What does that tell us? What is that kind of indication does that give us for what we have to come, right? We know from Rick Rule, only 0.5% of the world's investable capital is in precious metals-oriented investments. And we know that the long-term average is 2%. That would be 4 times as much money coming into the precious metals. And we're hearing it now from the Wall Street Journal. Thank you for being here, okay? Thank you, thank you. Let's talk about China, right? We know the big BRICS meeting's coming up. It's creating a lot of interest, a lot of, I won't say hysteria, but borderline hysteria within the precious metals arena. We still have a chance we're going to hear about a common currency. We still have a chance we're going to hear about a currency backed by gold, okay? John Little from the Pickaxe brought up a great point. They already have a common currency between those. It's not just Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. There's a lot more countries joining, a whole list. I've heard as many as 69 that have expressed interest, and a ton that are going to be at the meeting. John Little brought up a great point that you may not have thought of. It's obvious, but we may not realize it or recognize it, and that is that they already have a common currency between them. That's right, gold. It's already there. It's been the backbone of the world financial system for decades and decades and decades. But let's read about what China did. You hear what China did in July of this year? Let's move over to that because we need to get an update. Do you think China's still buying gold? And if China is indeed buying gold, what does that mean for the future of the metals? Here I got an article from Zero Hedge, just a couple paragraphs for you. Headline, China buys 23 tons of gold. The 9th straight month of purchases, total rises to a record 2,137 tons of gold, now owned by China. It says not only is China ravenously buying up all the physical gold it can get its hands on, something it has been doing pretty much nonstop since 2009, for the most part covertly with occasional periods of public disclosure. We're going to touch on that in a second, meant to achieve specific political goals. More importantly, it's letting the world know it is buying up all the physical gold it can get its hands on. China is acquiring all the gold they can get their hands on. China is the second largest economy in the world. China has been growing at a much faster pace than we have here in the United States. China's middle class is expanding. Chinese people love gold and silver. The BRICS, let's put it all together. Think about it. What does this mean for the future? To me, it means a bright future. On Monday, the Chinese central bank revealed that in July, it increased its gold reserves for a 9th straight month. A big part went into China that underpinned some weakness in demand in the gold market that was coming out of ETFs, selling out of ETFs. Here, this is incredible. The bullion held by the People's Bank of China rose by 740,000 troy ounces. It rose in 1 month alone by 740,000 ounces, bringing the country's total stockpile to a record 2,100 tons, with around 190 tons added in a run of purchases that began in November. So since November, they have added almost 190 tons of gold. Crazy. Here, this is where it gets even more fascinating. As we reported previously, China has led central bank buying in gold in 2023 as it continues to diversify its reserves away from the weaponized US dollar. That's helped keep prices buoyant. One can only imagine what will happen once rates start diving, when the exponential increase in US debt forces the Fed to resume monetizing the US dollar. Okay, but here's the interesting thing about China and gold. That's what they're telling us. It's generally accepted in the precious metals world by the top smart people that China's actually, hey, thank you, Sharon, for the super chat. I'm sorry I didn't see it go by. Thank you guys. Super chat is awesome. Always appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you. But we're not hearing the real numbers from China. It's very likely that they're actually buying more gold than they're reporting. And what does that mean? We know the world is moving away from the dollar to other currencies, and that these currencies will likely be backed by gold. This article goes on to say, we don't know what China's really going to do with gold, but we do know that China's buying a ton of gold. Think about that. We do know. Their economy's expanding. Their middle class is expanding. Their people love gold, right? The Chinese central bank. We also know that the other central banks around the world continue to buy gold. The first 6 months of this year was a record pace. There was some selling even in the second quarter of this year of gold by central banks. You know who sold it? Turkey. You know why they sold it? Because it was because of domestic demand. They were having hyperinflation type problems in Turkey, so the Turkish central bank sold gold not to foreign countries, but to their own people, their own population. Hello, it's Susie's on. Hey, Susie. We're in a different place, so she can't yell down the steps at me. She'll probably come screaming in here at me in a second. But thank you to all you guys for being here. Please give this a thumbs up, right? I appreciate it. Almost 300 people. I'm going to put out a piece of content for you every single day, right? I said 1 piece a day minimum for the rest of my life. So you got a friend for life. And we love to talk about silver and gold. We love this subject. So please consider subscribing. All right. Hey, we got 300 people here and we got 100 thumbs up almost. I'm the lucky one. I tell you what. Let's move on because we got more. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow, mega day for the precious metals, CPI report. You know what? I'll go out on a limb. I'm saying I'm 50-50, but I think tomorrow could be a good day for the metals. I really believe Maybe they have an interest in painting the CPI number to be a little bit lower. We know the economy is slowing down. So the Fed is getting scared right now. We know the brakes are on the economy everywhere we look. So they're going to want to start showing that they're making all this progress on inflation, and the gold and silver market will take that as a very positive sign, and we could see some big moves up tomorrow in the price of gold and silver. I'll go on a limb, okay? I'll say the rest of the week is going to be positive. Don't make any financial decisions based on that, and I'm not extremely confident in that prediction. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. It's going to be hard for me to see, but so you can see amongst yourselves, do you think Thursday and Friday are going to be an upswing in the metals or a downswing in the metals? Now, I want to talk about something about silver and how silver is so crazy undervalued. I got a great email from one of the viewers, an excellent piece of analysis I want to share with you about why silver can't really go below the $20 or $19 level, and actually why the future looks so bright for silver right now. This comes from Stu, and thank you, Stu, for sharing this with the community, and I'm sure everyone out there is going to thank you for this as well. He says it takes about $19 to get an ounce of silver out of the ground, processed, and then it reaches a wholesaler who also has to make their buck, right? We know that when we buy silver, right? All the premiums, crazy, correct? But it takes about $19 to get that ounce of silver out of the ground. Add to that the growing commercial demand for the metal and the fact that labor and infrastructure prices won't go down. He's got that absolutely right. I talk to the CEOs of the mining companies all the time. Jorge Ganoza, he'll tell you, like the billion-dollar Fortuna Silver, who will be reporting their earnings tonight, but nonetheless, Jorge will tell you inflation, right? The cost to produce silver has gone up over the last few years. That's not going to come back down. So it's cost $19, $20. Hello, Wes. Thank you for that super chat. Man, we're out of town. I'll put that to good use. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Then, when was the last time production costs went down and the manufacturer passed any savings to the consumer? Maybe computers, however, they're no longer all that cheap. Okay, so we're talking about the cost to get an ounce of silver out of the ground being $20. Then Stu says, how in the heck? And he said, I'm not going to curse. Can silver not be a store of value? How can the price be so manipulated as to make the price almost less than it costs to manufacture? And that's the key thing. And that, that's obvious, but it dawned on me as Stu said this. The price of silver can't go below, much lower than the cost of manufacturing, right? Because if it does, they're going to shut the mines down. And if they shut the mines down, we already have a supply-demand problem in silver. There's more silver being demanded than supply. What do you think is going to happen if silver, let's just say silver went to $16? You'd have a boatload of silver mines closing their doors, and that would make the supply even less. That would make the price go way, way higher. Any way you look at it, the price can't, for any sustainable amount of time, drop below this $19, $20 range. And even given that, all things equal, that's going to put a ton of pressure on the silver price going forward, where the price will go up, up, up. Uh-oh, somebody's ringing a bell. Oh, God. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for the 100 thumbs up. Okay, Susie brought that in. Everybody say hi to Susie.
Hello.
We're going to leave that there. I'll be very careful with it. Silver bells. We are out of town here for a few days, and that was nice of Susie to bring that in. Everybody says hi to Susie. Susie's my wife, for those of you who do not know. She's a critical part of this channel. Everybody loves her. Everybody loves Coin Shop Chris. Everybody loves Annie Oakley. Everybody loves Neil from Neil Hahn's Dynasty, all you people that help out, thank you so much. Back to silver. The price can't go below. It costs 20 bucks an ounce to get 1 ounce out of the ground. 1 ounce, okay? I always feel energized after I see Susie. I guess that means I'm the lucky one. Anyway, how can the price go below? We've already got more being demanded than is being supplied. If the price goes below 20, guess what? They're going to shut down more mines. It'll go down. I bet it's the same thing with platinum as well. Gold's a little bit different dynamic, but the demand for silver is there. Stu, I appreciate you bringing that up. He says, answer that for me and I will liquidate my silver for what I don't know. You're exactly right, Stu. I can't answer it for you. I would recommend not liquidating your silver. I would recommend holding on to your silver, okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm not giving financial advice, but, hold on to your silver. Now, when it comes to holding on to your silver, I got a big warning for you from our friend Coin Shop Chris. That's right. Guys, he sent me a text this morning, and he's always looking out for you, right? If you're buying silver, he really is always looking out for you. He sent me a screenshot of a text, I think it was from eBay, somebody selling a tube of American Silver Eagle coins for $297. And this, we can't hear it enough. And I'll tell you a story about this in a minute. But here's Chris's message to you. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. Avoid it, okay? A tube of American Silver Eagles should be, I think, maybe what somebody said earlier today, $550, something like that. If somebody's offering silver at a price that is significantly below where it should be, avoid it, because it's most likely something's wrong with it. Most likely it's fake. So please, if it sounds too good to be true, definitely avoid it. And I'll tell you a quick story about that. When I was here, we're a year ago where we are right now, and I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, and there was this great deal, DeWalt power washer for $99, gas powered, brand new. And I thought, that seems too good to be true. But I went through, I was going to buy one. And luckily, toward the end, I realized it's a scam. Guys, in life, when it seems too good to be true, it usually is. Now, let me back up this. If you're a silver stacker or a gold stacker or a platinum stacker, and you're at an estate sale or a garage sale, and you know what you're doing, and you see a set of silverware that probably has $300 worth of silver in it, and somebody's selling it for 25 bucks, buy it if you know what you're doing. But if you're buying things like gold bars, silver coins, sovereign coins, right? You know what the price should be. If it's a price that seems too good to be true, it's going to be a ripoff. Now, look, I haven't had to do this in a long time, but I got to give you guys some news, okay? Some Ron's Basement stock portfolio news. I've always said I'd be completely transparent with you with what stocks I own in the mining sector. I bought a new stock, a new company. I own a lot of Fortuna Silver. I own a lot of Equinox Gold. I own a lot of First Mining Gold. And they've been generous and have sponsored my channel in the past, as a matter of fact. I own a little bit of Brixton. I own a little bit of America's Gold and Silver, but I bought a new silver exploration company that's here in the United States. It's called Summa Silver, Summa. I'm not recommending you buy it, but I've always said that I'd be very transparent. I really like the CEO, Galen, and I also really like the fact that they're a silver company based in the United States. They have a big project in Nevada and a big project in New Mexico. And it's a very, to me, what I thought was a good value to pick that one up. Again, not giving stock purchase recommendations, but it's the first time I bought a new company stock, honestly, gosh, probably in 2 years. That's why I haven't been talking about the stocks that much, but I invest a lot of our capital into the mining stocks. They are risky, okay? They are extremely risky. Excuse me. But I also feel, me personally, that they represent one of the best value opportunities right now. Talk about buying silver or gold for less than its cost. with these mining companies, the gold's in the ground, okay? And there's a lot that goes into getting it out of the ground. A lot. But you can buy silver and gold for a huge discount if you're willing to buy it when it's underground, okay? But remember, it's underground, okay? All right, guys. Oh man, this is fun. This is fun. Also, I won't, we're trying to limit the amount of links in the comment section. Guys, be careful whenever you click on links. I will only contact you through email, and the best way for you to contact me is through email, ronsbasementsilver@gmail.com. Tomorrow is going to be huge, guys. Be prepared. Tomorrow, again, we could have a big move in the metals, one way or the other. If it goes down, it's not the end of the world, okay? I'll still be here. I'll still be, we'll deal with it. We've been through some serious choppy waters in the past, but they're getting to the end of the road, the end of the rope. Last week, right, when I talked with Lynette Zhang, if you haven't watched that video, I'm not trying to increase my views. I'm just telling you, I had an awesome conversation with Lynette Zhang. She's incredible, legitimate, good lady. We talked about, and she talked about, the reason why things feel so crazy right now is because the system is under so much duress. The system is so delicate. The system is so sensitive. I think she used the words is because we're probably nearing the end. I love what she said as well. Listen to me, okay? Listen to me. I know everything. No, wrong. I don't know everything. If you've been watching Ron's Basement for long enough, you know that. You know Susie will remind you, send her an email. I don't know everything. Lynette doesn't know everything. Rick Rule doesn't know everything. You need to process as much information out there as you can and then make your own decisions based upon what you see going on. I see a United States government that has racked up so much debt, a sickly amount of debt just in the last 10 years, but even prior to that. I see a country who's not only racked up all that debt, but continuing to rack up debt. Wouldn't it be like if you had a son who's 22 years old and he comes to you and says, Dad, I've racked up $35,000. Thank you for the super chat, Craig. That's awesome. Very much appreciated, guys. I'll keep doing my best for you, and I appreciate the support. It goes a long way. But if you had a 20-year-old son who came to you and said, Dad, I have $30,000 in debt, credit card debt, and I can barely make this, hard to make the payments on the credit cards every month, you'd say, hey, kid, pay off the credit card debt. Do whatever you can, right? But then that same kid came back to you 2 years later and said, oh, Dad, nothing bad really happened. Thank you, Ancient Tom, for the super chat. Wow, man, you guys are awesome. And I think it was Sharon earlier. But if that same kid came back to you just a few years later and said, oh, now my debt's gone from $30,000 to $120,000, you'd be like, what? And that's what our government, that's what the leaders have been doing. And it's not a good thing. It's a nasty situation that they've gotten us into. And what are we seeing in the real economy? We're seeing the third largest trucking company in the country, 100 years old, going bankrupt, going bye-bye. The real data shows trucking companies indicating that right now, the volume of shipping is down by almost 10%, maybe even a little more than 10%. What is that telling us about what's going on out there? I went to Six Flags on Saturday night here in St. Louis. Six Flags, it was empty. All right, I'll say empty. For a Saturday night, it was empty. Right? Everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, we see the economy starting to slow down, but the government and the Fed getting boxed in more and more. Eventually, the only option they're going to have is to dilute the currency further. And they may try to dilute it with a CBDC. Do you guys like CBDCs? Huh? Right? They could do it instantly. Now that they have the Fed Now program in place, look, there's been no official announcement of a CBDC, but the Fed Now program is the plumbing, the infrastructure they can plug in a CBDC and say, hey, if you hook on to the new CBDC system, we're going to put some free money into your account. What do you think of that? We'll all be like, hey, I mean, right? You and I, anybody else, like we likely would jump all over it. So the ability for anything, think about this. Think about the world and that there's a pile of gold, and that pile of gold, by the way, would fit under the base of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. And there's a pile of silver. Well, guess what? That pile of silver is actually smaller. That blows me away, but it's true, smaller than the pile of gold. Okay? There's only so much of that. It's been money for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Paper, there's an unlimited supply of paper. CBDC, electronic money, there's an unlimited amount of that as well. That's the whole thesis behind why people like you and me have found value in silver and gold for thousands and thousands of years. That's the reason why. They can't print or they can't mass produce with a key punch silver and gold. Go talk, like we talked about, like Stu said. Do you know how hard it is to get an ounce of silver out of the ground? Do you know how much work goes into that? Do you know how much work goes into getting an ounce of gold out of the ground? A ton. Do you know how much work goes into printing a $10 bill? There's some work that goes into it, but a small fraction of what it takes, a tiny, minute fraction, maybe 1% of 1% of what it takes to get that silver and gold out of the ground. And it's always been valuable. Always. And this is the kicker, everywhere. I'll touch on this. That's why Nixon, in 1971, old Richard Nixon, because he was looking out for your best interest, right? The French wanted their gold back. He took the U.S. off the gold standard and he put it in jail, but he couldn't kill it. They couldn't kill it. The Fed, we know, the government, the Treasury, they've worked to discourage. They've worked to discourage the American public away from precious metals now for decades. That's why you and I are a sliver of the population when it comes to investing in precious metals. Hey, I appreciate all of you. Can we get to 200? Hey, if we get to 200 thumbs up, I got this fancy new bell. I'll stick around till we get to 200. I'll ring the fancy bell, okay? All right? I'm not quitting on you. People, watch my, okay. Very interesting information. I'm not leaving you. Please give this a thumbs up. Hey, Thomas, thank you. Wow, man. A bagel and coffee. Yes, yes. I may take my girls to this safari thing today, so they'll put it toward that. Everything is so expensive. It's crazy. I'll tell you what's not expensive. We need to get to 200 thumbs up. But we went into a gift shop yesterday here, a little touristy area we stopped at here for a day or two. And all these t-shirts and all these sweatshirts, I'm going to tell you what's not expensive. This is not a political statement, not at all. But they have, like, back in the corner, these old leftover t-shirts that say Biden Harris 2022, and they're selling them for $2 each. I gotta be honest with you. I bought a couple. And I'll tell you the funniest thing about this is that last year when we were here, they had the same t-shirts and they were trying to sell them for $3. I'm not saying anything. We got 200 thumbs up. Oh boy, here, let me get the fancy bell. Oh boy. Oh, here. Okay. Oh boy. I can't believe I do some of this. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the super chats. Okay. It goes a long way. It's going to be an interesting rest of the week. I'll tell you one more interesting thing that happened yesterday in the markets. And this, I follow the gold and silver and the mining stock market very close. And we had something big happen yesterday. And a couple of you pointed this out, and I noticed it as well. The price of gold and silver were down, but the mining stocks were generally up. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the soup. You guys are so nice. But In the past, when that happens, that usually would happen. Most of the time, there was always a big move that occurred in the price of the metals. When the mining stocks went up while the metals went down, that usually precipitated, is that the word I'm looking for? Well, it came in front of a period where we would then see the metals go up rather sharply. So, maybe that's the intelligence of the market working in something that we need to keep our eyes on. Hello, Sharon. Let's see if I can say hi. I can't, my eyes are bad. Hey, Annie Oakley's here. If you guys want to say hi, I'll say hi real quick, but I got to get rolling. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. All right. I'm going to see you soon. Take care. Be prepared. Yes. Hello, Susie. All right. Thomas, Sharon, you guys are the best. I'll see you soon. Right. We're going to make it. Bye-bye.